All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrew Young, and I will be your host today on our first webinar covering the 2014 Transportation Site Impact Handbook. This is an update to the 2010 version of the Transportation Impact Handbook. Many of you know that in 2010 and 2011 there were many changes to the growth management laws, rendering much of the Impact Handbook a bit out of date. Since 2011, we have been updating the handbook, and we would like to introduce the handbook and the major changes with you today. Today, we have with us many of the people who helped rewrite the handbook. They are here today to go over the major changes and also to answer your questions if possible. We have Gary Sokolow from the Systems Planning Office, myself, Andrew Young, Janine Fear from CDM Smith, and Martin Guttenplan from CDM Smith. Though we all do not have formal speaking parts, all of us here have experience in different aspects of impact analyses, level of service calculations, growth management, and modeling. So as you ask questions, we are all available to help with our specific knowledge. This is a quick overview of a fairly thick document. We will concentrate on what is new and get you familiar with the layout of the handbook. Since this is just an overview, we plan to have future webinars and live training on the use of the handbook, and we will tell you how to sign up and keep current with the upcoming webinars and live training on the Transportation Site Impact Handbook. All right, Gary, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. Hey, I'm Gary Sokolow. I've been involved in the writing and rewriting of this handbook since 1997. There's been a lot of changes, however, but many of the principles of site impact have not changed, and that's the good news. We have changed the name of the handbook this time by adding the word site to it, and if I could have the keyboard and mouse control.
You should have it now, Gary.
Okay, good. All right. Okay. It's not really, okay, now I have controls. It's just taking some time. I apologize. Okay. We added the word site to clarify what kind of impact handbook it is. So one of the nice things that has not changed is that we have a website where you can get the latest versions, any changes and additions that we make along the way. It's still called FDOT, Transportation. Impact Handbook. It's FDOT Transportation Impact Handbook. And pretty soon you will see an actual picture. Okay, when you go there and you download the handbook in PDF and you open it up, you'll see that there are bookmarks on the left-hand side to make it easier for you to get to where you want to go. You can see here, in addition to adding the word site, we have also added the subtitle, Estimating the Transportation Impacts of Growth. Continue on. DOT is responsible for reviewing and providing comments on local government comprehensive plans and plan amendments, as well as development orders as they relate to the transportation impacts on state and regional multimodal facilities. However, you will find with this webinar that DOT's roles and responsibilities have changed quite a bit since 2008 and 2011. Okay, so why do we even do transportation impact analysis? Well, first of all, we want to protect the operation safety of the transportation system, and we want to minimize any of the bad impacts that could happen both on the regional and local transportation networks. So what we try to do with this handbook is that we try to guide our FDOT staff in reviewing local government comprehensive plans, developments of regional impact, and certain other land use changes. And I apologize for the alphabet soup there, but anytime that we go over something like that, you don't know what the acronym is, just ask us a question. But in addition to just dealing with guidance for DOT staff, this handbook also offers some guidance to the development community and to our local government colleagues on what we think is the proper way to analyze transportation impacts of new growth. Got another poll for you here. I'm going to go back one slide and point out something that I didn't point out before. Occasionally you'll see this page curl over on the bottom right. And what that says throughout our presentation, that this corresponds to page 17 in the PDF version of the handbook, or if you've printed it out. What we're going to cover today is really quick. As Andrew mentioned, it's a thick document. We don't have much time, but we're going to have an entire series of webinars on this. So today we're just going to focus on what's new, and we're going to focus on how the actual handbook is organized. These are the chapters in the handbook, and we have the introduction, which I'm kind of going over right now. Chapter 2 is the largest. It's the transportation impact process. We had a question earlier about what was an LGCP, and that is a local government comprehensive plan, and that's a Florida term that is passed around a lot, the same as DRI, or developments of regional impact. And Chapter 5 is about mitigation. It's what do we do when we find out what impacts we expect. There are resource guides throughout this handbook, and they've been one of the most popular features. By using internet links, you will be able to find the most up-to-date information, even if the printed version of this handbook becomes out of date. And you know, today things become out of date almost immediately, but we've really tried to keep live links in there, such as this one with the Florida rules. The other feature, which is really popular in the last one, was checklists that really help in the review and making sure whether, if you're doing the actual analysis, whether you have caught everything that's applicable to the study that you're doing. Over the years, we've created examples and collected samples of work done for traffic impact analysis, and we put a number of these in the appendices of the handbook. Again, you'll see a generous use of hyperlinks to make your job easier.